Hi guys. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna switch on the audio on my laptop and then we can get started, okay? What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel / my podcast. I am the marketing nomad. My name is Prithvi Madhukar. It's Saturday, November 11th when I'm recording this and the clock actually just hit 11:11. Uh, Let me give you a bit of update on what's happening on my end. Feeling still a little bit tired from my viral flu. Honestly, I've not got back to feeling 100% myself. Sometimes I feel a little bit helpless that, my body's feeling this weak, even though there's no fever. I do have like occasional cough, but, I think it's part of the whole thing of falling sick. So yeah, I'm not really there yet, like 100% feeling myself. There's a bit of tiredness today as I'm speaking to you, but I thought I was kind of in the mood to chat a little bit. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me see if I can actually record an episode and yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping I will be able to make it through this episode. But today we've got a very, very interesting topic and I'm so excited to get into it with you. And today's topic is what to do if you don't know what to do. Honestly, guys, if I had $1 for every single time I didn't know what to do, I would probably not know what to do with that money either. Like, I'm not even kidding. The amount of times in my life I've not known what to do is ridiculously high. And I'm sure it's the same with a lot of you over there. And over the years of, many occasions or finding myself in situations where I had absolutely no clue what to do, I've come up with a thought process that makes me feel comfortable and secure during these periods of uncertainty that everyone goes through from time to time. And so I wanted to share that thought process with you in hopes that you too will find peace and calmness in situations where you don't know what to do. So, yeah, that's basically my agenda for this entire podcast episode. And let's get into it. All right. So, in life, okay, the first point that I do want to put out is there will be moments where you do not know what to do. Okay, it could be in situations related to your personal life, your professional life, or even, if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, even with your business, there are going to be moments where you absolutely do not know what to do. There are periods of uncertainty because you just aren't aware or you aren't sure of what steps to take next. And I think the first point that I want to make with this podcast episode is it's okay. It's normal. It's absolutely normal that sometimes you will find yourself in situations where you do not know what to do. Now, every single time I find myself in situations where I do not know what to do, I don't do anything. I know it sounds absolutely crazy for me to say that, but I'm going to repeat it again. Every single time I find myself in situations where I do not know what to do, in that moment of time, I do absolutely nothing. And here's the reason why, okay? Now, every single time you don't know what to do, there's actually something internally happening in your mind, okay? At that moment in time when you don't know what to do, there are either two things happening, okay? Either or. One, you don't have the data you need to make the decision that you have to. That's the first situation. The second situation is you probably do have all the data you need, but your mind is still working on processing it. Okay? So this is two cases that are usually happening when you find yourself thinking, I don't know what to do, I'm not sure of what decision I should make, I'm absolutely clueless on my next step, so on and so forth. When you're in this state, there's usually two cases that are working out inside your brain. Number one, you don't have the data you need. And number two, even if you do have the data you need, maybe your mind is working on processing it. And so In cases where you do not know what to do, the best thing to do is to pause, is to stand absolutely still, is to do nothing. All right? Because one, you have to understand that ever since we've been born, okay, our mind has been trained to answer questions. And let me give you an example. When you were a kid, the first question that you learned to answer was, what is your name? What is your mom's name? What is your father's name? Which school do you go to? How old are you? When is your birthday? Every single instance in our life since the beginning, our mind has been trained to answer questions, right? So by default, because you've been doing it for so many years, it's a very natural thing for your mind to do. It is constantly finding answers for you. Now, in a situation where you do not know what to do, what's happening in your mind is it's not yet able to answer the question, what do I do next? That's it. It's just as simple as that. Either it does not have the data it needs to process that decision to answer that question, or it has the information that it needs, it has the data that it needs, but it's just needing a little bit more time to kind of mix the pieces and figure out a way that works for you for your highest good. All right? So it's important to understand the functioning of your mind in these kinds of situations, because I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, like, okay, we've got to have everything figured out at all times. We have to be certain of our decision. We always need to know what to do. And I think that stems a lot from when we were children and we used to look up at adults and we thought that they seemed to have it all figured out. We thought that, they always knew what to do. But the truth is, it's not that way, We just didn't see the parts of them that were still trying to figure out what needed to be done, or them figuring out that maybe they also didn't know what to do. So I think it stems a lot from my childhood, at least. I mean, let me know in the comment section for you. But for me, it was mostly in my childhood, that I kept looking up at adults. And when I became an adult, I put this unnecessary pressure on myself to have it all figured out, to always know what I'm doing, because that's just how it seemed to me, to the adults that I looked up to when I was a kid. And it was only after I became an adult and I had multiple of these situations. At first, of course, I thought there was something wrong with me, like every single person does, when they are figuring out that adulthood is not what they thought it was going to be like. And they were, adulthood is not about being 100% sure of yourself and the decisions and what you have to do. There are going to be periods where you don't know what to do at all, and that's normal. And so for me, part of the process of understanding this was, coming to the conclusion that no one has it figured out. No one, not even a single person has it figured out. And it's okay that there are moments where you don't know what to do. It's just your mind needs some time. That's all it is. And I'm going to repeat that because that's very important. When you don't know what to do, all it is that your mind needs some time, some more time. And at this point, you may seem a little bit frustrated and you may ask me, well, Prit, I have given myself time to make this decision. I've given myself a week, a month, and it's just not happening, and I still don't know what to do. And for that, I do want to say that time is relative, okay? Time is actually a construct that we invented. What may seem like a long time for you may actually not be enough time for your mind to actually, A, collect the data that it needs, B, process that data that you do have, and C, make a decision on the data that it has processed. So it's very important for you to understand that what is enough time for you may not be what is required by your mind. So you've got to give it that time. All right, I'm just looking down at my notes and I think we've pretty much covered whatever I wanted to say. And I think for most of us, the reason why we panic so much in these kinds of situations is because we think it's not okay that we don't know what to do. And I want to put it out there. I want to stress in this podcast episode that there will be multiple times in your life where you do not know what to do, and it is okay. It is normal. It is okay if you do not know what to do in this moment of time. All you have to do is pause, is stand still, is do absolutely nothing, and give your mind the time it needs to figure things out, to sort it out on its own. Because, like I told you, your mind is already hardwired to answer questions. It's working. You actually physically don't have to do anything. It's, subconsciously everything's working out at the back end. It's just, it hasn't come to a conclusion yet. It hasn't arrived at a place yet where it is sure. So that's why you are in uncertainty. And the minute you understand this about your mind, I think that you will start to be a little bit more lenient on yourself and on your mind when you find yourself in situations where you do not know what to do. So I'm going to repeat this again. If you find yourself in a situation where you do not know what to do, and it could be related to anything, any aspect of your life, it's usually one of these two cases. One, your mind doesn't have all the data that it needs to make that decision, or both of it could be both also. Number two, with the data that it has, it needs a little bit more time to process that data, to understand that data, and to make a decision based on that data. All right, so it's one of these two cases, and the only thing that you can do is just give it that time. Okay, that's very, very important. Now, I do understand that, especially when you're giving your mind time to work things out, there is a layer of panic, right? You're worried because you are in this uncertainty and you're thinking maybe time is running out, or maybe you feel guilt that you're not making a decision that you should have already made, or something like that. Of course, it happens. For me, this was as recent as February that I went through this. There was a big part of my personal life that I really didn't know what to do. And it was, I gotta say, Feb all the way till May, I really didn't know what to do. And I gotta frankly tell you, despite knowing that it's just that my mind needs more time, I was worried. I was panicked, I was like, okay, well, I should have made a decision by now. I should have understood what to do, and so on and so forth. And I was a bit hard on myself, I will admit that. But every single time I found myself, saying, okay, I should have figured this out by now, I would calm myself down and no, it just means I don't have the data that I need. I don't have all the information that I need. Or I do have the information and I'm just taking my time to process it, and it's okay. It's okay for me to take time to make this decision. And I had to constantly keep calming myself down, because the decision was a pretty big one. It was really big, and it was going to kind of ripple effect into my business as well. So there was a lot riding on that decision. And even so, it took me Feb all the way till May. And May, it was like one morning I woke up, I was like, I had the decision in my mind, I took it, and I haven't looked back since. But my mind needed that time for it to process, because the decision itself was that heavy and was that big. And it wasn't that I was consciously processing that information. No, to be very honest with you, it was all happening on a very subconscious basis. And it was very interesting to see how my mind was working throughout that. So every time you find yourself in a situation where you do not know what to do, my advice would be focus on other things that you know what to do. Okay, I know it's a little bit hard, but shift your focus, because when you shift your focus to other things that you already know what to do, you automatically go into some sort of autopilot, because you know what to do. Your mind has figured that question out. So it's a little bit of giving your mind the space it needs to think about the decision that needs to be made. So how do you give your mind that space? You can give it by meditation, you can give it by journaling, you can also give it by focusing on other things that you already know what to do, and just keep doing that so that it frees a little bit of your mind space. Because the more you put pressure in your mind, the more you tend to focus on, okay, what to do, constantly keep asking yourself. Again, you're putting yourself in a state of stress, you're putting yourself in a state of panic, and I don't think that's the best thing for the mind. I frankly don't. I think that your mind tends to work better when it is in a state of peace and calm. You're giving it that time it needs, and I think that's important. I really think that's important. So what I want to say is, it's important to let your mind do what it does best, and that is to answer the question. It's as simple as that. It boils down to that. And so, like I told you, there are two cases, right? One, you don't have the information that you need. And number two, even if you do have the information that you need, your mind is probably needing that time to process it. So in either of these two cases, okay, sometimes you can help your mind by giving it the information that it needs. So for example, if you find yourself in a situation where you don't know what to do, ask yourself, do I not know what to do because I don't have all the pieces? Because I don't have all the information that I require? Ask yourself, take a deep breath and think about that. Don't be in a state of panic that, okay, I don't know what to do. That's not going to lead you anywhere. Ask yourself more questions so that you can help your mind a little bit. And honestly, even if you can't figure out the information that you need, you're still being in that state of calm, that state of peace, so that your mind can actually figure out, with whatever information that it does have on hand, process that, and it will also figure out what new information it needs from you to collect, or from the world around you to collect, and make that decision. So all in all, when you don't know what to do, pause, stand still, do absolutely nothing, because that is the fastest, let me tell you, that is the simplest, it is the fastest way for you to understand what you need to do. The more you panic, the more I guess I would say, the more you I'm not getting the word, but it's the more you kind of run around in circles in that state of panic, the more you're stopping your mind from processing that information, because your mind becomes more focused on how to calm you down. You're just running around in circles and just with your hands up in the air, and you're just screaming about. So obviously your mind's attention is more to calm you down rather than to process that information that it needs, or at least grab the information that it needs. So you gotta give your mind that space. You gotta give it that time to do whatever it does best. And how do you do that? You do it by being calm yourself. And you'll probably need to remind yourself from time to time. For me, Feb to May is a very, very long time. That's how many months? Feb, March, April, May, 4 months. And I was absolutely clueless. I didn't know what to do. But I think it also boils down to having faith that your mind will figure it out. It's just about having faith that you are a person with a very strong mind, okay? Your mind knows what to do. Your mind is doing what it does best. It's taking a little bit of time, and that's okay. That's okay. So it's about having that trust. And I kept telling myself this, from Feb to May, I kept telling myself, I gotta trust my mind. And that itself would calm me down a lot. So just want to put it out there. Trust your mind. Your mind has led you this far, okay? It's led me for 31 years of my life. It has led you for how many ever years of your life, and it will continue leading you, right? So you've got to trust it. It's done enough for you to not doubt it. That's what I want to say. Okay? Okay? It's pulled you out of the trickiest situations in your life. It's always, kept your best interests, and it's always done its best. All you have to do right now is just give it its space to do what it does best, and that is to answer the question, what to do next. That's it. So, yeah, where was I? I kind of lost my train of thought. Over there. Oh my god. Okay, that happens. That happens very often. Okay, so basically that's that. So trust your mind. Trust your mind to do what it does best, and it will. It will. Okay, it's just it needs time. That's it. And time is relative, so don't be like, okay, it's been 1 week. Where are you? Where's the decision? No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so give it the time that it needs, and when it is ready, you will know what to do. So what to do when you don't know what to do? You don't do anything. You pause, you stand absolutely still until you figure out what to do. Okay? All right. So now I just pretended you said okay. Okay? So we're just going to move past that and get into the next section, which is a smaller section, but let's actually get into that. So what do you do basically when you're giving yourself space and time? I'm just looking at my notes. We're almost at the end of it. So the last part is, so what do you do when you are giving yourself that space and time? Okay, so the first thing that I did, we already talked about, right? I said, focus on things that you already know what to do. So you're kind of freeing up that space in your mind to just handle it, to do what it does best. And honestly, you're just leaving it alone. That's what you're doing, okay? So another way that has worked for me is journaling. Journal whatever thoughts that are in your mind. Free up that space in your mind. Maybe write down the information that you have. Write down the information that you need, or keep asking yourself questions, more questions, so that your mind can focus on working on individual questions, like instead of what to do next. Okay? That's a big question. That's a big answer, clearly, because your mind is taking that much time to figure out that question. So maybe break it down into smaller questions, like, what do I want? What is the life that I see? How do I see myself 6 months from now? Break it down into smaller questions so that you can help your mind that way. And journaling is a great way for you to be able to do that as well. Another thing that you can do is talk to people, talk to mentors, talk to your friends, tell them that, hey, this is something that I'm struggling with, I'm not really sure. Maybe they'll give you an idea. Maybe they'll think about what they would do in a situation like that, and maybe you could take that as a starting point for yours. There's so many different ways that you can do it, and even just speaking it out loud instead of keeping it within you, it reduces the burden on yourself, So that also is a good way for you to help your mind a little bit, all right? Then another way that you could go about it is, trial and error. Maybe you think to yourself, all right, if I were to do this, what would happen? What would be the consequences of this particular decision? Am I okay with that? Or give yourself different scenarios that it could play out, and ask yourself, well, am I going to be happy in that case? Is this going to be the best decision for me? So on and so forth. So you don't physically have to do it, but you could just ask yourself and kind of play pretend a little bit. Play pretend and say, okay, well, if I went down that path, how would I feel? What would it be like? Does it align with the person that I want? What are the possible consequences for that? So on and so forth. So you could kind of extrapolate and figure out if that would work for you as well. So that would be one way of you helping your mind a little bit. So I'm just looking at my notes because I want to see if I've covered all my talking points, and it looks like I have. Basically, what I've written over here is embrace the uncertainty. There is absolutely nothing wrong with not knowing what to do. If there's one thing that you take away from this audio, it's that there is nothing wrong with uncertainty, and you will face that multiple times in your life. There is nothing wrong with it. It is normal. It is normal for your mind to take the time it needs to figure out what to do. So if you don't know what to do, you do nothing. You do nothing until your mind works it out and it figures out what to do. All right? Because any decision or anything that you make in that state of panic, in that state of insecurity, in that state of fear is probably not going to be the best decision for you long term, okay? Because you're not giving your mind enough time to figure out the best course for you. Your mind is there only to protect you. It's probably your biggest protector, right? And so when you don't give it enough time to make that decision and you just impulsively make a decision because you are scared, any decision based on fear, based on insecurity, based on panic, I don't personally think that's going to be a decision that is going to be helpful for you long term. All right, so give your mind the time it needs. That's all I'm saying. All right. And another thing is, you'll probably be worried, a few weeks pass by and you've still not made the decision. Understand that there is always time. Okay, there is always going to be time for you to make the decision that is the best for you at that point in time. Yeah, I think that was a bit of a complicated sentence, but you know what I'm talking about, right? You do know, right? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna run out of the camera time slot on my camera, so let me just click that and click it back again so that, yeah, I don't know why I'm explaining, but let's do that. Okay, yeah, I'm back. Okay. What was I saying? I completely forgot. Like, it's just 1 second, but I completely forgot. Okay, I've written it here. This is the reason why I script, guys. I'm not even kidding. Like, I lose my train of thought just absolutely randomly. And so this helps me get back on track. But what I've said over here is it's part of the process. Don't be too worried about it. This is how your mind works. And all you have to do is trust. Trust that your mind has your best interests, and it always has had. I always say that my mind is my biggest protector, and I say that from a lot of experience, to be very honest with you. Like, it's protected me through trauma, complex trauma, and it's always had my best interests in mind. So I think that you just have to give your mind the space and time it needs to make a decision that is going to be the best for you at that point in time. Okay? And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Trust that it will come together at the right time is also something that I've written. And I think a huge part of this process for you is going to be trusting that your mind is working through it. Even though it might not seem like it, you are. Like, your mind is working through that question. You have to understand that it is the nature of your mind to answer questions. It's what you've been doing all your life. So you just have to give it the space and the time and trust that it is doing what it does best. It is doing what it has done for all of your life, okay? And it's going to make that decision when it is time. So if you don't know what to do nothing. Pause, stand absolutely still until your mind figures out what to do next. That's it. That's pretty much it. You can help your mind a little bit, but even if you just let go and just stand back, it will do its thing. It will do its thing. It will let you know, okay, well, I don't have this piece. Can you please get me that piece? And then you automatically will be doing that. But you first have got to be in a state where you are receptive to the signals that your mind is sending you. You've got to be at peace. You've got to feel calm, so that you can receive the information that your mind is trying to tell you as well, okay? So yeah, that actually brings me to the end of this podio. Now, if you did like this podio, please do give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because that tells you every single time. Oh wait, no, the notification bell tells you every single time I do upload a YouTube video. And of course, if you're watching this, not watching, if you're listening to this on the podcast, then definitely do subscribe and you'll get notified every single time I do put out one. I'm hoping to keep a frequency of 3 every week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's see how I can do it. Like I said, I'm kind of focusing on my physical health right now, and I'm doing my best. That's all I can say, okay? Other than that, I have 2 books that are out on Amazon. The first one is 0 to 4 Figures. That is actually a business book, and it has 61 stories and lessons on various topics like self-love, business strategy, marketing, positive mindset, growth mindset, success mindset, relationships. So if you're interested in digital entrepreneurship, I would highly recommend that book. The link is in the description box below. It's called 0 to 4 Figures. And then we did talk about journaling in this episode, right? So if you are someone who really wants to get started with journaling, or you've been journaling for a little while and you're looking for a compilation of journal prompts, I actually do have my second book, which is Self-Loved. Now, Self-Loved is a compilation of 1,000 journal prompts. It focuses on healing, growth, and self-discovery. The few topics that it covers is like manifestation, trauma healing, inner child healing, emotion management, self-discovery, gratitude, so on and so forth. So that also, you can just find it on Amazon. And other than that, I also do have a series of planners, journals, and trackers. They're called the Simple Series by The Marketing Nomad. Link is in the description box below. So it basically solves productivity problems one at a time. So if you've been struggling with productivity, highly recommend you check those out. Those are available on Amazon. And the simplest way to find my books on Amazon is to just type my full name. It's Prithvimadhukar. There's a space between. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to repeat that again because I forgot the space. So my full name is Prithvi Madhukar, and it is Prithvi space Madhukar. All right. Other than that, if you want to chat with me, if you have any thoughts about this episode, definitely do leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I do see all of them and they mean a lot to me. If you want to talk to me, if you want to have a chat with me personally, you can definitely find me on my Instagram page. It's at The Marketing Nomad. And send me a DM. I do my best over there. I do miss a few sometimes and I reply like after a couple of weeks. I try my best, but yeah, the easiest and quickest way to find me is through the comment section, because I check those YouTube notifies me, so it's easier for me to catch those. Anyway, that brings me to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening / watching all the way up until here. I will catch you in my next one. Bye-bye.